What's up, peeps? Welcome back to the channel. Check out the new merch, Grand Tartaria. Love this shirt. I got a decal for my car. It says Tartaria hidden by history. Today I want to pop on and share a bit about the reset and some evidence I found in this book. It's called To the Great Ocean, The Taming of Siberia and the Building of the Trans Siberian Railway by Harman Tubber. Copyright 1921. I'm going to read a section of the book, and then I'll give my comments at the end. So let me give some context first. We are in the city of Irkutsk in Russia. Now, Irkutsk is on the 52-degree north parallel, which is pretty high up north. This is on the south end of Lake Baikal, the deepest lake in the world. That's for another story, but this book, leading up in this book, they've been talking about a lot of exiles of Russia, that the prisoners that were supposedly building the railway, and Irkutsk being like this crime city, and like a murder every day for every year, on average throughout the year. And now, and they were Irkutsk was next to like a gold mines, and that's how they afforded all this stuff, apparently, some of these buildings and stuff. They're building extravagant things like this drama theater, like that I'm going to tell you about in a second. But let me give you a real quick context. In 1879, practically the whole of the historical center of Irkutsk was destroyed in a fire, so great that people subsequently talked about history before the fire or after the fire. What survived of the wooden Irkutsk Kremlin was subsequently fully demolished at the end of the century, when large-scale rebuilding work took place in the city. In 1898, the first train arrived in Irkutsk via the newly completed Trans Siberian Railway. Okay, so this is a reading from the book now. Irkutsk presented an untidy, unfinished appearance, a strange mixture of squalor and grandeur. The disapproving Harry D. Wint reported in the early 90s. Every street, not omitting the Bolshaya, the equivalent of Main or High Street, was unpaved and pitted with chuck holes. In spring, vehicles churned thawing ruts into quagmires of mud that dried in summer to ankle-deep dust, so thick that it fairly darkened the sky on windy days. Affluent citizens thought nothing of contributing $150,000 towards construction of the Rose and Buff Drama Theater that is still one of the showplaces of Irkutsk. That's the one behind me. And paying two permanent companies $36,000 a year to perform in it. But those same patrons refused to spend a kopeck on what they considered the lunatic extravagance of street paint surfacing that would be blanketed with snow and ice for more than half the year. The sidewalks are boards put on trestles over open sewers. The British author William Greener observed in 1901, and here and there planks are broken or missing. There were no waterworks except for those who had barreled water delivered to their door. The citizens still drew buckets from the swift and unpolluted Anjara, as generations had done before them. In the 1860s, the telegraph line from St. Petersburg and Moscow reached the city. But at the time of Greener's visit, the public was so poorly served that non-official telegrams sometimes took 6 weeks to pass between Irkutsk and European Russia, unless sent urgent at triple the ordinary rate. My thoughts on the reading. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. So, this description kind of is not alone in terms of like many of the cities across Russia, across America, across the whole world. Basically, they're saying like there were these grand buildings and affluent people who built them, but then there were the conditions of the current day, which was, usually they talk about hunger and disease and unpaved streets and mud and just difficulty with the network, the communication network not being very good, the roads not being very great, and people being hungry all the time, and the crime and money issues and stuff like that. So it presents this dichotomy, and on top of that, we add the fires that occurred in almost every major city. On a side note, there's underground places around the whole world too, as well, and that's kind of a side note. But maybe who knows if in Irkutsk there was underground areas that we don't know about. But certainly, this building behind me, the theater, is pretty impressive, and this just leads to that time being the 1800s, late 1800s, being like a reset period where many things are shifting. There's supposedly this railroad was built in the 1890s, but to be honest, so far reading this book, I don't have a better understanding of how it was built. I don't buy the labor, the forced labor stories and stuff like that, because it doesn't. Maybe it's true, but it doesn't. Something doesn't jive right with that story with me. And that's a whole other story as well, another topic. But yeah, those are my thoughts. The reset. Things shifted in that time period. There were. This book talks a lot about the conditions, that the convicts and the looting and the poverty, and then, but we know that also there's a lot of wealth in Russia, a lot of gold mines that are not commonly talked about, and a lot of buildings going up everywhere like this, and just the palaces and the Kremlins and everything. And so it's kind of hard to have both, a war period. I think there was a war period, and then there was a peace period. And I think the buildings were built during the peace. It's kind of hard to build when you're in war. And so I think there was a big distinction between the two. And I think that's what history is kind of covering up and hiding from us. Hence the reset. And they could have easily just burned the books, and these communications were taking forever, right? I mean, books were hard to come by those days anyway. So it's like there was no social media on the internet to quickly share knowledge. So to kind of wipe out everything is pretty kind of actually pretty easy. Definitely possible. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time. I'm doing a video on Bolt Castle. I'm still trying to put it together. I went up to upstate New York on the Canada border and went to this amazing castle, and can't wait to share with you all. Peace. Bye.